Hello everyone, so in this video I just want to show you how to manage and add students on your Canvas course and a couple of issues that you have to be careful with that with my experience tends to happen. All right, so let's get started with the first part. So one of the first things that I want to do is to help you on how to create sections on Canvas. What is a section? Basically is when you are teaching the same topic but to two different or three different classes, and sometimes they might have, for example, the class in different days, and therefore they would have different deadlines. And so the sections allow you to manage that, allow you to manage different classes with different deadlines, and to create this I'm going to show you now how to manage students or how to add sections into your course, and later on how to add students to each one of those sections. Okay, so here I am on my strategic management course that I will use today as an example to show you all the things regarding management of students. Now, the first thing I want to teach you about is to actually how to set different sections. Like I said, sections is basically having different classes. Sometimes you might teach the same group, for example, the same class but to different groups and they have different deadlines, or sometimes, like in that case happens to me quite often, which is I teach the same course but in different schools, and therefore I only have one course open for the semester, but I have all my students into the same course, which can create some very interesting interactivity between all the students. So in this case, what I did is I go to my settings. All right, typically you land on course details, and then you have to click on the sections tab on the top. Now here it's showing that I only have one group, strategic management. So I'm going to change this and I'm just going to call it group 1. Okay, and then I'm going to have another one called group 2. So, and I'm going to add it. So what I just did here is I have one course, but now I have two different classes within that course. Now this is going to be very useful, for example, if you have different schedules or different deadlines for each one of your classes, and therefore you want to manage that separately. And I will show you as well on another video how to set the assignments according to different courses as well, according to different groups inside the same course. Okay, so for now that's it about creating sections. I mean, you might not need it, but just in case I just wanted to show you because I think it's a great tool to have in case that you have different groups for the same course. All right, so now what I'm going to do is to show you how to add students into each one of the sections or into the course that you have on Canvas. All right, so let me show you typically what is the process that I use when managing my students. Now, to add students into our course, now that we created the sections, is what I'm going to do is we go to people, to the tab people over here on the left, and we land on this page. Now, as you can see right now, we only have the teacher. In this case, it's me. And it shows there that the last activity, the total activity that I spent on this course, for example, what is my role, and so on. What the first step we need to do is to actually add people to this group. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick email here. This is a great website to have as an example. It's called 10-Minute Mail, and it creates a temporary email for you. And I'm going to add this pretend student to my course. All right, so I'm going to click on the right hand side here, add people. And then typically this is the two ones you have over here. This is in case your school has a partnership already with Canvas, but in this case, because we're using the free version, I invite them by email address, and I typically just copy the email there. Okay, like that. Now, if you have the emails, for example, for your students on an Excel file, you can copy all the emails in the column and just pass them here, and it will recognize it. Then the thing you have to do is to select their role. So typically in this case, they're students. So I'm adding students. I click on students. And now I have to select the section. Now I'm going to add this student to section 1, to group 1. All right. So, and I can say, for example, if these students can only interact with students on their section, or if they can interact with others. So in this case, I'm not going to bother because in this case, I'm only having one. So I'm not going to click on that box. And then I click next. Now, two options you're going to have over here. All the emails that you show up does not necessarily mean that they're going to show up on the list that will give you here. If a student already has an account, their email does not show up here. So here is the step that actually takes the most time. It takes around 10 minutes to do, to be honest, which is you have to check email by email, and then my suggestion to you is to add their family name. So I'm going to add my family name here as an example. Okay, and I put it all caps because typically, at least in the schools that I work here in France, what happens is the student lists that I receive from the school and the grading lists are typically organized by family name. So later on, when you download all the grades, it makes it much easier if their names are already registered as family names. So that's what I did. But like I said, be careful, not all emails will ask you for their name. This is only for the ones who don't have an account yet. Once you write all their names, then you just click next. And here it will show all the students that you added, in this case just one, and you add the student. So what will happen is, right now this student that I added, okay, it's showing pending. That means they did not create their account yet. All right. Once they create their account and they're logged in, this pending sign disappears. And this is very important to know because any student with a pending sign means they cannot submit any assignment. They can see the course, they can access the materials, but they cannot submit any assignment until they actually create the account. So as an example, now what I'm going to do is, let's go back here to my email and see if I already got it. Typically the invitation might take a little bit of time, so we're going to wait, and then I'm going to show you as an example what would happen for students to register. So once all the students are added, that's pretty much it. What they have to do is go and actually click on the link that they receive on their email, which will allow them to create their account and therefore submit their assignments. Once they submit, like I said, this pending sign will disappear. And in terms of adding students to the course, that's it. All right, now I just want to show you how the students receive the email. So in this case, here we are on my temporary email, and it shows here that I received a course invitation. Right? So this is now, I'm going to show you what students will face. So in case they say they don't know how to create their account, you can basically show them if you are in class. If not, you can just send them to this video and I will show. So for the student to register, all they have to do is click on the link over here that says get started, and you arrive on this page. Now, as you can see, they have access to all the materials already, and they can actually check assignments already. Okay, but what they cannot do is to actually submit anything. All right, so what they have to do now is to go over here and click on this button that says accept. They click on accept, and then if they have an account already, great, and they log in. If not, they must create their account. Then you generate here, I'm gonna just put a random password for now. It's very important that you put tell the students to put the correct time zone so that they get the right information about the assignments and the deadlines, and finally they register. And that's it. And with this, the students now has access to the course, and the student can now, for example, actually develop the assignments. If you notice, now they would be able to check all the assignments, and they would be able to actually submit the assignments if they are open. All right, now that we added students to the course, now I want to show you how to create groups for the students and how to change the assignments in order for them to be in groups. Okay, so the goal now here is to manage those groups and create the groups that will determine the assignments. You can create various groups. You can create as many groups as you wish, or as many different types of groups as you wish, but I typically only create one group, and one group for the students, and then the students have to work with the same group for the rest of the semester. But obviously you can adapt that towards your own needs. Okay, so let's get into it. So in terms of group work, some of your assignments might be group works and you want them to develop their work therefore in teams. So as an example, I'm going to use here my Unit 1 classwork, and I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to show you how to make an assignment a group work. Basically, all you have to do is scroll down. Let me just eliminate the deadlines over here because they're from last year, and I want to show you later on what the student would see. And you can create here group assignments. You just click this is a group assignment, and then you say what type of groups it is. So in this case, I'm going to say it's project group. Okay, this is the groups for the project. I typically only create one team for the whole semester, but if you want to create, for example, different teams, you can say I'm going to create a new category group. This would show, and I say, for example, groups for class unit 1. Then here you have a couple of options. For example, you can say allow the students to self-sign up. So that means that they would assign themselves to the teams they want. You can also require the group members to be in the same section, which I strongly advise. In terms of group structure, you can also say I want to create 6 groups, and I want to limit the group to 5 people per group, for example, and then the students would assign themselves. And in terms of leadership, you could say automatically assign a student group leader, the first, or select a random student, or you don't have to select that at all. All right. So this is all different alternatives that you have. So what I did is exactly that. And now, then all you have to do is click save, and then this is now a group assignment. To actually create the groups, you have a couple of options. All right. So if you go to the groups here, as you can see, look here, I have my groups done, but they're currently empty. The other option you have is to go on this tab. Again, you go on people, then you go to the group tab, and all the students that you have in the course would show up here on the left. In this case, I only have one student. So if I want, for example, to make this student go to team 1, I can just pick it up, drag it, and there you go. It also is advised, if you have many teams, to select a team leader, and in this case I'm going to make here this one the team leader, and now it shows up for that group as being the team leader, the one that has to communicate to you the information about the group project, for example. Now, group projects are great, and when you grade them, basically you only have to grade once for that specific group, which makes it much easier for you as a teacher as well to manage. But at the same time, I think that students really enjoy most of the times to work in groups. And having a team leader, I typically tell them that they are the ones that have to manage the problems in the group. So to be very careful with the people they select. Sometimes I select groups at random, sometimes I let them assign. It really depends on the course, and it really depends on the project that you wish to do. But in terms of creating groups, that's it that I have to tell you for today. All right, so now I just want to show you basically some issues that you might face when adding students or when managing students online. This is issues that I faced, and I took some screenshots to show you, and typically what must be done in order for you to solve that issue. All right, so let me start by showing you 2 different examples of something that happened to me recently. All right, so I want to show you some of the issues that I have faced in the past regarding adding some students, which is, for example, sometimes you add a student and something weird will show up. Now, in this case, I show you the grades for this for a class that I have called Digital Business. I removed some of the details of the students so that no one can contact them or see who they are. But in this case, what I see, let me just mark what is the special situation, which is right here. That is not the name that I added, but for some reason Canvas automatically switched, and this is something that it can happen to you. Now, if that happens, all that has to be done is the student has to go to their own settings. Okay, so they go on their account, then they create on settings and then edit profile, and there's an option there called display name. All they have to do is to change that display name. So once you add the students, my suggestion is go back to the student list and check if any of them showed up with a weird name, let's say. The second one that sometimes, in this case, it's a random assignment of letters. I don't really understand why. The other one that is very common to happen is this one over here. When I say very common, means maybe one person per class would have this issue tops. So in this case, I have 2 students over here that their name got switched to a number pattern. Once again, the solution is exactly the same, which is the students have to go and just basically go to their settings, go to their account, click on settings, click edit profile, and change the category that says display name. So if you see them, that, just tell them, and it's quite easy to do. Normally they immediately detect it, so it's not a big problem to solve. The final thing that I want to say is, if for some reason you added the students but they're saying we did not get any invitation to the course, or we did not get the email, then go back to the home tab and check if you published the course. And that's pretty much it. Those are the three big problems that I have when managing students, and that's in terms of adding the students, that's pretty much it. Remember, in terms of groups as well, one last tip that I want to say is you can move people from groups. You can switch them from one group to the other, but typically that's very rare that I need to do so. And that's pretty much it. So if you have any more questions, please just let me know and post them on the comment section below. Right, and with that, we're done for this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. We spoke about how to add sections to a course. We spoke about how to add students, how to manage groups of students, and some of the typical issues that that happens when adding students to your course. If you would like to see any other video regarding online courses, just let me know, and I'll try to make the video as quickly as possible. And if you have any questions, just drop a comment on the video and I'll try to answer it as well as quickly as possible. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you on the next video.